Okay, hello everybody, it is me here, Mr. Truth, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a player who I've covered before, but who I genuinely, honest to God, folks, believe is one of the biggest failures in the history of the NFL, that being former 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, and Chargers quarterback Trey Lance, selected 3rd overall by the 49ers in the 21 NFL draft. And to say that trade-up they made and that draft choice they made is nothing short of a failure of almost comical proportions would quite simply put be understating the obvious fact. I think this is one of the worst trades in the history of the National Football League. I actually said it was the worst trade of all time. I still sort of believe that in some retrospect, for what the Dolphins got in return for that trade and what the 49ers got in return for that trade, it's not even close. I mean, the Dolphins got multiple elite players, and the 49ers got one of the worst quarterbacks to start in the last 20 years in the history of the NFL. I mean, his QB win-loss record is atrocious. He has a horrible completion percentage. He is a turnover machine. He doesn't throw touchdowns. He's not efficient. He is erratic. He can't read defense. He's not particularly super athletic. You know, he was built to be this, unreal monster athlete coming out of the FCS ranks of North Dakota State University. And I'm not trying to knock FCS players' game, right? I'm not trying to knock the FCS or North Dakota State. North Dakota State's now a fully fledged FBS program, and I think that fucking team's gonna make the college football playoff in the next 3 fucking years, right? Because of how good the recruiting is, how good of a recruiting pipeline they have all across the country, and how they're able to get underrated, and find underrated gems and develop them into special talents at the collegiate level. But I don't care. It's FCS. At the end of the day, FCS and FBS are both different subdivisions of fucking Division I college football, right? And he was playing in a lower division than FBS, which means that the vastly inferior opponents is what he was going up against. And while statistically he looked like a very dominant quarterback, when you turned the film on, there was absolutely nothing to indicate this guy was ever going to be a star quarterback in the NFL. His feel for the pocket wasn't great. He was athletic, but once again, he looked athletic against FCS players. Do you think if he was playing Alabama or Georgia or fucking Ohio State, he would have looked athletic? No, he would have looked like just another fucking guy on the field, right? And arm strength was average, it was adequate, but I mean, it's just like all of these tools were overhyped and overrated because of people who were just simply looking at the statistics and saying, this guy didn't throw a pick in his college career, he has to be good, right? And I could see why people were enamored by Lance, right? The size, the sort of athletic ability that popped on the film, the flashes of good arm talent. There was something there to be built upon, but the problem lied in the fact that the 49ers invested all of their stock, all of their draft capital into this kid, and they didn't get jack shit in return. They got a shitty quarterback who never developed, and I'm going to give 50-50 blame, honestly. A lot of people would say, well, the 49ers organization failed Trey Lance. To a certain degree and point, I would actually agree with what you're saying. But Trey Lance, the player, never got out of his ways. He never developed a single tool or skill at the NFL level. He never got better. He essentially, he's been like a rookie his whole career. He has been playing like a rookie since he stepped in the league, and that's a fucking problem. And that means he is going to be playing in a developmental spring league. He is going to be playing in a smaller league, not named the NFL. In I'd say the next year or two, he will not be in the NFL. He might be completely out of football. I don't know. I don't know if teams are going to value him. But based on his last couple of starts late in the season for the Cowboys and the Chargers, I mean, he looks so fucking dazed and confused and just lost on the field, like he doesn't really know what he's looking at, that he's not confident, that he doesn't trust his arm or ability to play at a high level. And when a guy looks that emotionally rattled on the field, there's no hope anymore. You can't save this guy's career. He's not going to be saved. Like, we're beyond that point, right? I'm pretty sure even the biggest Trey Lance truthers and fans alike can come to the terms that this guy will never be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't care if he's still a relatively young guy And a lot of people say, oh, let him figure it out. Oh, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. I don't give a shit, right? Because Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield actually in their first 1 to 2 years in the league when they were starting showed flashes of being potentially great NFL quarterbacks, right? Trey Lance showed no flashes his first year. His second year, he played in 2 or 3 games before injury sidelined him for the rest of the season or something of the sort, right? And even in the games he played, no flashes, nothing. He can't play in tough weather. He can't play in the rain. He can't play in the cold. He can't play in the fucking snow. His arm isn't all that good. It's kind of shot, to be honest with you. Athletic ability is average to above average for his position. He's got great size, a great frame. He looks like a pro quarterback. He plays like a goddamn Pee-wee quarterback. He plays like he belongs in Pop Warner football, right? And he plays smaller than he looks. He's like 6'3", 6'4". He's a big, strapping individual. But he plays like he's fucking Diego Pavia. I mean, like, I don't know. There's something, there's the mental aspect of the game is not there for him. He's not able to read defense. And when you look back on the trade and all the capital that the Niners gave up to trade up to number 3 to pick him in the 2021 NFL Draft, it's astounding how much they gave up for so little return, right? And that's what makes me title this video, Trey Lance is the biggest failure in NFL history, because when has a team invested that much capital into a singular fucking quarterback prospect and it failed so badly like this? You can't say like, oh, well, the Raiders with Jamarcus Russell or the Chargers with Leaf, they didn't fucking like trade up like fucking 17 spots and give away a fucking goddamn whole bag and a goddamn bank worth of draft selections to go and get the guy. They just stayed where they were. They stayed put and picked a shit player. You want to know what the 49ers did? They traded up and wasted draft capital to draft one of the statistically worst quarterbacks of the modern era of the National Football League. And that is simply unacceptable. And that is sort of the reason why Lance didn't work out in the NFL. The hype, the expectations as a young quarterback coming into this league were too much for Trey Lance. He had never had that much attention in his entire playing days in high school or the collegiate level. All this hype saddled on his back as a potential star quarterback for the 49ers, one of the biggest market teams in sports, one of the most recognizable teams on the planet for any sport, the San Francisco 49ers, a team with so much history, pageantry, and fucking legacy. And he gets thrown in there like he's going to be the next Messiah at quarterback, the next Steve Young, the next Joe Montana, and it was just so super unrealistic. And now a lot of people would say, well, oh, that's revisionist history. No one actually thought that. Motherfucker, you know people thought that. There was too many lofty expectations for this kid to be the savior, and no one gave him time to develop, and even when he was given time to develop, he sucks. So it is 50% on the Niners front office for mismanaging him in his development of his potential to be a good quarterback in the league, and it is 50% on Lance for just never being able to get the job done on Sundays and overall being an incompetent quarterback at that level. It's very sad to see because there was raw tools and physical traits that, were to be desired from Lance at quarterback. It's a shame he was picked 3rd overall in the fucking draft. 3rd. And they trade. I don't even need to mention the trade up. Everyone knows it. I don't know why I'm yelling about it. Everybody and their mom knows about that shitty trade they made, which is one of the worst fucking trades of all time. And so poorly managed, so mismanaged. It boggles my mind to this very fucking day, that trade. And he's just completely failed at every aspect of quarterbacking. And even, once again, the biggest diehard Trey Lance fanboys. There's none left anyways, but even they can admit this guy's a failure. He sucks. He's not a good quarterback. I wouldn't even say he's a bad quarterback. He is borderline garbage, like unplayable. Like, if your season depended on Trey Lance, you would be shitting your pants, right? Like a last week of the season, win to get in the playoffs against a hated division foe, you'd be like, we're going to get destroyed because look at our quarterback. I wish our starter was in this game because this fucking guy's a scrub. That's the type of quarterback Lance is. And once again, he will be in a spring league probably within the next year or two. And as sad as that is to say, in all actuality, it's going to happen. This guy has no talent to play in the NFL. He's not even a good backup. He's nowhere near serviceable. I just don't think he's an NFL quarterback. He has like the frame of a tight end and is stuck playing quarterback. I just don't know. He's absolutely horrible, guys. And the 49ers mismanaged him, and the Cowboys made a stupid trade to get him, and then the Chargers signed him in free agency or whatever the fuck they did, and he played a game against the Broncos and just looked like it was one of the worst games I've ever seen a quarterback play. It just goes to show how like truly inept he was, and the fact he was still receiving chances based on fake potential he doesn't really have. If we're being honest, if we did a redraft of the fucking plane flying by, but regardless, if we did a redraft of the 2021 draft class, he wouldn't even be in the first. He wouldn't be picked in the first 4 rounds. Not even first 6 rounds. He would not be a choice until the 7th round. No team would take him until the 7th round, because knowing what we know now, he would be a 7th rounder, and I don't even think he'd be drafted, to be honest with you. He is that fucking bad. He's played like a UDFA quarterback whenever he starts. He has never developed. The 49ers never bothered to develop him, and he's never bothered to get better. So that is what it is. That's why I think Trey Lance is the biggest failure in the history of the National Football League. Thank you all for watching. This has been Mr. Truth, and this was nothing but the truth.